Okay, so think about this for a second. You're standing there looking in the fridge. Maybe it's been a long day, right? Or maybe you're trying to plan meals for the week and you're thinking, what's for dinner? Or I don't know, maybe you're trying a new diet or just need to figure out how to poach an egg perfectly. What do you do first? Well, if you're like literally millions of other people, you probably grab your phone. Start swiping through apps, looking for some kind of recipe idea, some inspiration. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're not just hunting for a single recipe. We're going much deeper. We're diving into the whole huge world of recipe apps themselves. Our mission is to really unpack the findings from this report by Cognitive Market Research. It's called the Global Recipe App Market Projections 2021-2033. We want to look at the figures, yeah, but also understand the big trends. Why are these apps becoming, well, almost essential tools everywhere? What does that mean for how you cook? And just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, let's just hit you with the main numbers right away. This isn't some small niche thing.
Back in 2021, the global market for these apps was already valued at $453.702 million. Pretty solid. But here's what gets really interesting. By 2025, just next year, it's expected to jump to $745 million. And looking out to 2033, the forecast is, frankly, staggering. Over $2 billion. Let me check an exact number. Yes, $2008.76 million. That kind of growth, it's powered by a really impressive compound annual growth rate, CAGR, of 13.2%.
That 13.2% CAGR, it's really something. What strikes me isn't just the dollar amount, though. It's huge. It's the fundamental shift this represents. We're literally seeing a change in how people find, cook, and honestly even think about food, tripling the market value by 2033. It suggests these apps are becoming more than just handy tools. They're becoming like central hubs in our daily lives. And think about the strategic side. For grocery stores, food companies, this is a massive opportunity, fertile ground for innovation, maybe AI-driven stuff. It really points to technology embedding itself right into the heart of the kitchen.
That's a really key point. It's like the digital cookbook, or maybe the digital sous chef, isn't just here, it's evolving constantly. But, like any big global trend, this growth isn't the same everywhere. Different places are seeing this surge in their own unique ways, adding their own flavor to the market, you could say. So let's kind of take a trip around the world, see what the report tells us, region by region.
Absolutely. And understanding those regional differences is so important. It tells us more than just where the money is flowing. It gives us clues about, well, cultural factors, different economic drivers, how quickly tech is being adopted in different places. A really high KGR in an emerging market might signal that initial rapid uptake phase, whereas strong growth in a more mature market, maybe that points to deeper integration, users wanting more features, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And speaking of rapid growth, we absolutely have to start with Asia Pacific. This region isn't just growing. The report calls it one of the fastest growing engines for the whole market. It's pushing forward with a KGR of 14.879%. That's really remarkable, almost 2 full points above the global average.
It really is. And drilling down into Asia Pacific, China's market is obviously huge in terms of sheer size. It's projected to go from about $30 million in 2021 to over $174 million by 2033. That's a strong CAGR too, 15.497%. But if you're looking at the pure speed of growth, the real headline might be India. India actually has the highest CAGR in the entire region. Get this, 16.163%. Astonishing. Its market is set to grow almost 6 times over, from around $11 million in 2021 to nearly $69 million by 2033. That's not just growth, it's an explosion. You have rapid digital adoption, amazing food culture, a growing middle class getting smartphones, and we should also mention Southeast Asia showing strong momentum too, around 15% CAGR. It all adds up to this incredibly dynamic picture in the region.
Wow, India's growth rate is just exceptional. Really underscores the momentum across Asia. Makes you wonder what specific apps or features are taking off there. Okay, let's pivot now. Let's look at regions sometimes called emerging tech hotbeds. The Middle East and South America, recipe apps are making big waves there too.
Yeah, and here we see some interesting stuff happening. The Middle East as a whole has a strong regional CGR, 13.91%. But if you look closer, Qatar really jumps out. The report talks about its rapid momentum. Its revenue is expected to multiply several times over from less than $1 million in 2021 to almost $4.7 million by 2033. And that's driven by a KGR of 15.505%. Really impressive. We're also seeing a solid growth in places like Saudi Arabia and Turkey. It suggests a wider embrace of these tools, maybe driven by younger populations, tech savviness, and interest in diverse foods.
That kind of leap for Qatar, it points to a real shift in how people are engaging with food digitally there. Okay, and then South America. The region overall clocks in with a very respectable 13.735% CGR. And within South America, Brazil is clearly the leader, not just in total market size, but it also has the highest GGR in the region, 14.436%. Its market is projected to grow from about $9.4 million in 2021 to over $47.5 million by 2033. So it's pretty clear these regions are catching up fast. The appeal of these apps really seems universal.
Exactly. Brazil leading the way there, much like China and India and Asia, it points towards countries with large populations getting connected digitally. There seems to be a common thread. Once these apps gain traction, especially where people are ready for digital change, the growth can just take off. These aren't just abstract numbers. They signal real changes in lifestyle, people looking for convenience, trusting technology more for everyday things like cooking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's unpack North America and Europe. These might be more, established tech markets, but they are definitely not standing still. In fact, they're showing steady growth overall, but also some surprising pockets where things are moving really fast. North America, for instance, the overall regional CAGR is 12.356%. And no surprise here, the United States is the dominant market by far. It's projected to grow from over $133 million in 2021 to a huge $519 million by 2033.
Right. But what's quite insightful about North America, I think, is while the U.S. has the biggest volume, Mexico actually shows higher growth potential. Mexico's COGR is pegged at 13.97%. That's higher than the U.S. rate. So it tells us even in a mature region like North America, there are still places with really significant room for rapid expansion, probably linked to growing smartphone use, better internet access, maybe changing food cultures too. It's not just about who's biggest now, but who's growing fastest.
That's a really good point. It's about where the change is accelerating, hinting at what the future might look like. Okay, now let's hop over to Europe. The continent as a whole shows a 12.841% CAGR. So, robust, steady adoption. We see the big established markets, Germany, the UK, France, they're all contributing significantly, providing that stable base.
But Europe gets really nuanced and interesting when you dig a bit deeper. So you have those big stable markets, sure. But then Spain, for example, is highlighted for its remarkable momentum with a CAGR of 14.447%. And even more striking, look at some smaller, very developed countries. Switzerland has a CAGR of 14.878%, and Denmark is right there too, 14.861%. Those growth rates are actually among the highest in Europe, almost rivaling some of those fast emerging markets we talked about. It shows this isn't just about catching up digitally. Even in places that are already very tech savvy, people are still finding new ways to integrate these tools. It speaks to the universal appeal, I think, the convenience, the innovation. It just works for people everywhere.
Switzerland and Denmark growing that fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really shows how pervasive this is, cutting across different kinds of economies. Okay, finally, let's touch briefly on Africa. It might be starting from a smaller base compared to other regions, but it's definitely part of this story too.
Absolutely. Africa's overall CGR is quite strong, actually, 12.394%. That indicates real potential for the future, an accelerating pace of digital adoption. The report mentions Nigeria and South Africa as key contributors there. Nigeria specifically has a projected CGR of 12.725%. So, yeah, it really confirms this is a global phenomenon. It's reaching every continent, adapting to local tastes, local needs, and, improving digital infrastructure helps too. Africa's definitely a continent to watch in this space.
So, okay, we've kind of done a whirlwind tour, incredible numbers, huge growth everywhere, different speeds in different places.
Yeah.
But connecting those dots, the big question is why? What's actually driving this? What are the fundamental reasons behind this global shift? The report points to three main drivers, and they feel very relevant to everyday life.
Exactly. It's not just about convenience, though that's part of it. It's about deeper shifts in how we live and eat. The first big driver is this growing interest in health, wellness, personalized nutrition. Think about all the specific dietary needs people have now, plant-based, gluten-free, keto, allergies, whatever it might be. People care more about what they eat. And recipe apps. They offer amazing filtering, tailored meal plans, nutritional info, things a physical cookbook just can't easily do. They empower you to manage your diet in a very specific way, tying into your wellness goals.
That's so true. You can customize searches and plans in ways that are just impossible with a book. Makes healthy eating feel much more achievable. Okay, the second driver mentioned is culinary creativity and exploration. People seem more adventurous now, wanting to try new cuisines from around the world, maybe learn some fancier techniques, or just find ways to make Tuesday night dinner less boring. Apps provide this, like endless stream of ideas, often with videos, reviews from other users, variations. It kind of democratizes cooking, bringing global flavors or even gourmet techniques into your own kitchen.
Definitely. And the third driver, which I think is only going to get bigger as our homes get smarter, is smart kitchen integration. We're starting to see apps that can talk directly to your smart oven, your Instant Pot, maybe even your fridge. Imagine apps generating shopping lists automatically from your meal plan, or even linking up with grocery delivery to order the ingredients for you. This goes way beyond just finding a recipe. It's about making the whole process, from planning to cooking to shopping, way more seamless and automated. It's the connected home idea extending right into the kitchen and pantry.
Totally. And when you think about those drivers together, your health, your creativity, wanting tech to make life easier, you really see it, don't you? You see how these apps are shifting from being just a nice to have to something truly essential in the kitchen for many people. It reflects this broader trend of using digital tools for all sorts of everyday tasks. So as we wrap up this deep dive, the picture is pretty clear. The global recipe app market isn't just ticking along, it's booming, expanding, and weaving itself into our daily lives. We've seen this incredible, diverse growth everywhere, from the powerhouses in Asia-Pacific, South America, the Middle East, to the steady yet dynamic growth in North America and Europe. The common thread is this global move towards digital solutions for something as fundamental as cooking.
And those underlying reasons we talked about, the focus on health and personalization, the desire for culinary adventure, the integration with smart home tech, they all suggest this isn't just a fad. This feels like a fundamental long-term shift in how we interact with food, how we learn cooking skills, and how our kitchens actually operate day to day. It feels like a permanent change.
It really does. So considering all that, those powerful drivers, the sheer scale of the growth, what does this mean for the future? Like the real picture of cooking and eating. Is the traditional cookbook going to end up as just a nostalgic item on a shelf? Pretty, but maybe not used much? And what about AI? With all this data and connectivity, how much further could it push things? Moving beyond just giving us recipes to maybe like truly personalized meal planning, managing complex diets, creating entire food systems right on our phones, it leaves you with a really interesting question to ponder, doesn't it? How might one of these apps shape your very next meal, or even how you eat and think about food over the next 10 years?